comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome in, all you sinners. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, and today the ensemble got a lot nicer to look at, if we're honest. The lovely
Thank you for the compliment, Adam.
Right. Yes, as always, joined by T.I. and Miles Behind Enemy Lines. I am Adam Reno, but today we have New York Giants fangirl, over 20,000 followers, Miss Adrianna. What is going on, girlfriend?
Nothing. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to hear your story of your fame and all your fortune, Miss 20K followers. Where can people find you, and give us the story of how you kind of got your little break? We were talking about that before the show.
So I am most active on Instagram. Instagram stories just makes life so much easier, especially like having gone back and forth training camp and stuff like that. So that's great. So I'm originally from New Jersey. I was living in Massachusetts with my now husband for a couple years during COVID. And this also started to coincide with the Giants performances just going off a cliff. So we were living in Massachusetts. All of his friends are Pats fans, and I would just be tortured. Every week I'm going to a bar to watch the Giants games because they're all 1:00 games and they're not on TV. So I'm there by myself, like in my jersey, embarrassed, watching this awful team. So then we end up moving to Connecticut in 2021. And this is like peak Joe Judge era. And I just am like, I'm in a group chat with my brother, my uncle, my cousin, who all of us are diehard Giants fans. And I'm like, we are all miserable. I just know that there are other miserable Giants fans that would like to commiserate with us. So we can all, as we're watching Joe Judge call a quarterback sneak on our own, like 10-yard line when it's 30.
Was there peak Joe Judge era? You said peak. I was curious. When was that?
Yeah.
When was peak Joe Judge era?
Well, I mean, like peak terribleness.
Okay,
It was just kind of like a straight line. It was just like a straight line, like getting to end. It was like just a straight line.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you now.
You know.
Yeah, very unfortunate. So I just was like, I have a background in social media. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to start an Instagram page and I'm sure there's local people who would like to go either watch the game at a bar together or just DM back and forth and talk about how god awful this team is. So I like literally started an Instagram and was like, hey, I like the Giants. Like, this is it. So it started like that. And then whenever there was Giants news or updates, like with the draft or someone got injured or someone signed a new deal, I would always just post it. And then before long, I started getting questions from people like, what do you think about this guy? Or who are we going to sign in free agency? Or like, what do you think about this upcoming game? So then it kind of spiraled into what it is now. And I've been doing it for, I think, since like 2021 now. And then I started the podcast about a year ago, and I was like very anti a podcast, not because I don't like them, but because I'm like, everyone and their mother has a podcast. Like, I don't need one too. And then I just was like, I needed a place to vent. Like, this team is so bad. And 90 seconds on an Instagram reel is not enough for me to say every horrible thing about how bad that game was. So I'm starting a podcast.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. And I feel your pain a little bit. Some football people will know the name Jim Tomsula, and he was the 49ers coach for about 18 seconds. And so the Joe Judge, like, I get it. And these boys here, the Titans fans here, they've gone through some not so great years. We've all had that. So we totally
We've
get
had
that.
a lot of mics. We had a lot of mics at the helm. Like 3 of them, I think.
Yeah, throwing a couple Joe
Munchak, Vrabel,
for the Giants. Yeah, Vrabel
Mike,
though wasn't bad.
Mike,
yeah.
Who was the?
Overall,
I already forgot the other guy, the former Jaguars guy, Mike. You know, the intern coach.
Yeah, he's gone.
He was gone too.
We're definitely gearing up for the season. Do you go to a lot of games then, Adrianna?
So last year was the first year that I went to almost every home game. Prior to that, I had gone to like 1 or 2 games a year. Then when I went to school in South Carolina, then I was living in Massachusetts. When I was living in New York City, I was like too poor to go to the games. So it really wasn't until last year that I went to a lot of them. And then this year, my plan is also to go to all the home games. So I hope that they actually win some while I'm there.
So she's rich and beautiful now, I guess. She can go to all the games.
She said she's married, so that broke a lot of hearts. When she said that, that's really all I heard at the beginning. She was married. Yeah. Sorry, guys out there. She's taken.
Sorry, nerds.
Right.
Not today.
So, okay, now that you go to more games, I want to hear from everyone on this. Like, you got to give us some stories of some crazy fan bases. Like, what's a story that sticks out to you of going to a game and seeing a fan wearing a different color jersey just being a complete idiot? Like, there has to be someone that sticks out, right? Go in New York, right?
I mean, it's always the Eagles. So in 2022, when the Giants went to the playoffs, after they beat Minnesota,
it feels like 10 years ago.
I know. Especially everything that happened last year. Yeah.
In memoriam.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking about going to the link. It would have been my first time. And, I was like on Instagram, like, is it safe for me as a woman to literally go to Lincoln Financial? Because I have heard so many horror stories. My DMs, I had like one Eagles fan who was like, we're not that bad, I promise. And I was like, you're a liar. I was showing all my other DMs from other Giants fans who went to the link, who were harassed, thrown beer on. A woman told me she was pushed by men. Someone else got spit on. And then Howard Cross, who is a former New York Giants tight end who I had on my podcast, literally messaged me and said, under no circumstances should you go to Lincoln Field. It's an 8:15 p.m. game. He was like, they're going to be drinking all day. They're going to be out of control. He's like, if I was you or you were my daughter, I would say, absolutely not. You cannot go. And I was like, oh my God, like to hear that from a former player, it has to be next level awful for him to say, absolutely not. Don't go. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stay home. I promise.
I mean, their fan base did throw snowballs at Santa Claus. I mean,
they lit their own city on fire. They are insane.
There's like video back when they were playing the Vikings in the playoff. There's like video of people throwing beer bottles at Vikings fans just walking to the stadium very casually in the middle of the day, just trying to go to the game and getting beer bottles hurled at them.
Mm-hmm. So the New York State Department strongly recommends reconsidering visiting Lincoln Financial Field. It's on their official website. Look it up.
So, funny story, last year I went to Cleveland to watch my 49ers lose what was the start of a 3-game skid last year in the one blemish of the year.
Breaks my heart.
And the one blemish besides losing, just the
breaks
Super Bowl.
My heart.
Anyway, this is no joke, I happened to be sitting next to George Odom, who is a former Indianapolis Colt and special team stud for the 49ers. I don't know how I ended up sitting next to her. I truly don't. But she was this cute little model-looking woman who was shivering in a raincoat wearing Versace. And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, my fiance, I'm going to kill him. I'm like, where is he? Oh, he's on the field. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's George Odom. And so we get to talking. And so I follow her on Instagram. And which means, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise, which means now by default, I follow Claire Kittle. I follow all Debo's girl. I follow all these girls, and they were posting about not going to Philly as well for some of these same reasons, and on their stories and like showing videos of people, and like Fred Warner's now wife like posted stuff. I'm like, good Lord. And we're not like rivals. We're on the West Coast, bro. We don't care about Philly. Like, we'll eat a cheesesteak sandwich and call it a day. We're not interested. For you, you're in the NFC least. So you're of course going to be rivals. So for you to have that story, I get, but for every team for every team to have something negative to say about Philadelphia, it makes you think like, okay, there's something going on in Philadelphia, right?
Well, especially I know people who have traveled to a bunch of away Giants games, and no one has ever had a bad experience. Or if they have, it's like, a drunken fight or something stupid like that. It's not something serious where they're like literally afraid for their life because these people are insane.
The entire city, yeah. It's like,
unless I have a like team of security, like bodyguards around me, I will not step foot into Lincoln Financial.
So if we take a vote, does anyone come close to Philly? Miles, do you have any bad fan bases?
Oh, I've got a number of them, and they stretch far and wide among many levels. So you look over my shoulder right here. You can't really see it, but that's my diploma from Indiana, and I worked with the football team for 4 years. Yes, Indiana does have a football team. They still do to this day.
Prove it.
The GoFundMe page is still active to help us cope with our pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So working with the football team, we played at the Ohio State University, and it's hell going there. And not because it's tough to play. There are a lot of stadiums that are more rambunctious in the Big Ten. Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin, all are tougher to play in than Ohio State. That stadium is unimpressive at best.
What's that?
Have you been to an SEC game?
I've been to multiple, and I've been to Bama. I've been to Tennessee now, Kentucky, unimpressive, Vanderbilt, unimpressive. But the point about Ohio State is their fans really don't get it because they think they're elite and they're really not, honestly. I mean, they won a national championship. That's been almost a decade now since they won their last national title. But we went in there in 2011. We were 1-8 when we went up there, ended up going 1-11. They were on the path to win not just the Big Ten championship, but on their way to compete for a national title. And we had them, we were only down by 8, had the ball on the last possession of the game. Their fan base was scared, legit scared that this 1-8 IU team with a new head coach at the time, a bunch of players that shouldn't even been playing Division I football, let alone Big Ten football, had them on the ropes. They had Carlos Hyde, all your boys that ended up playing for the Niners and everywhere else in the league. We're driving. We end up getting stopped after it. Dude, you would have thought Ohio State just won the Big Ten title to make the national championship game. We're going down the elevator after I was filming. They're in our faces like they just, beat Michigan or beat a Wisconsin to win a Big Ten title. It was so embarrassing. Like, dude, the fact that you just beat IU by
it's
a
like
single
a
score, it's like
embarrassing.
Storming. It's embarrassing
for basketball. Yeah. Like Duke should never storm court. Like
against Boston College. Like what? Like
there's teams that just shouldn't do that. Like I get it. College is kind of is a little bit different in that because college kids are allowed to be morons because we were all morons in college.
But dude, it wasn't that. The biggest one was this 65-year-old grandpa with a cane talking about how the state of Indiana sucks. Like, come on, dude. You should know.
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing.
Talking shit.
Yeah, that's a little
but dude,
he's got a cane though. He's got a cane, so watch out.
Pick on someone your own size, bro. He could beat the crap out of me with that. But going to the professional leagues and to kind of hit on the New York side, hearing that you're from or had lived in the Boston area, there's a reason I'm wearing this shirt. And I think Adam knows this story. I despise Boston fans across the board. Bruins fans, Red Sox fans, Celtics fans, Patriots fans, beyond entitled. So back in 2008, so a little over 15 years ago, I went to opening day at Oakland Coliseum. My dad took me. That place was something else.
I've
in
been
the
there,
ghetto.
Yeah. I lived 45 minutes from there before.
Right, the San Jose boy. So going there, that was a different experience, like at face value. Of course, the Red Sox, this is just a couple years after, I think about 4 years after they broke, their curse. And then the year before, 2007, they beat the Rockies. They swept the Rockies in the World Series. So they're all high and mighty. Well, we're going in there. They're playing the A's, who were okay at the time, but still not at the level of Boston. But Boston, every single inning, I kid you not, every single inning, they picked a fight with an Oakland A's fan. And of course, it's Oakland. Of course, these fans are going to throw it right back at them. So that was entertaining. The game, I have no clue who won that game on opening day. Don't care to remember. But what I do remember, 16 years ago as a teenager, seeing a fight, and my dad, Adam, you know my dad very well. Very relaxed, calm, level-headed guy. He's like, hey, we're going to predict now what section is going to start a fight. This one, either way, Boston or Oakland. So, hey, we're looking at, and he like pulled out. This dude was eagle-eyed. My dad was all over it. It's a memory I will have the rest of my life seeing that. And then it got to the point where the Oakland A's fans were just fed up with it. It was kind of on themselves anyways. There's this one fan, a couple of rows behind us, probably spending, I don't know, $8 a pop on a beer. So half of his, yearly salary is going towards beer. He got to the point where he's hammered drunk, and he gets up, takes his shirt off, and he's like, yeah, man, let's go. He's like doing it, acting like it's game 159, like they're trying to clinch a wild card spot or something in game one, hammered drunk, and the cops are coming down and they're yelling, let him stay, let him stay. And it was so funny because people are chanting this, and then the cops walk up, and then after the people are, let him stay. Oh, I'm sorry, officer, let me get out of your way. So that was kind of funny as well to see, like, AL, but the tale of two cities between Boston and Oakland, now Sacramento, whatever the hell they are now, and about to be Las Vegas. Like, these fan bases, Oakland, I can see why they're losing all these teams, and we go on for hours. We do a whole podcast about Oakland teams leaving and how their fan base is pissed. They did to themselves, but overall, Boston, they are beyond entitled. They are beyond smugged. I don't care. Any Boston listener out there, throw it back at us, throw it back at me. Compared to the two, I love New York. If I got to pick one, there's no question. I will take New York 10 times out of the week, man.
Yeah, you're just trying to sweeten up to her, huh?
Yeah, I gotta take New York fans over Boston fans for sure.
Yeah, Boston fans are so annoying.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean,
there's a class to New York kind of thing, right?
But kind of taking it back to what Miles kind of mentioned, and you mentioned as well about the SEC. I grew up, obviously, I'm Nashville born, lived here my whole life. Ironically, my grandfather went to Auburn University, so my family, myself, my brother, my mom, we were an Auburn household, and I grew up surrounded by Volunteer fans, surrounded by Alabama fans, and I've always thought it was interesting, just Bama fans in general. Like, there's lots of bad fan bases, and I'm not trying to single out Bama, but like, if we're talking like top 3 worst fan bases, I mean, Bama fans are there. Like, the thing about Bama fans is that the majority of them have no ties to the school whatsoever. And of course, my ties,
correct.
My ties are through my grandfather, right? Like, I don't have an official tie. I did not go to school there. I wanted to go to school there, but I had to pay for my own school, and
they said no.
Very expensive. It's very expensive to go there out of state, and so I went to MTSU. Shout out Blue Raiders, but I have always found them to be just repulsive. Now I have a lot of Bama friends that are or Bama fans that are friends and great friends, and I would tell that to their face. But most of the time when I'm talking to Bama fans, I'm usually asking them to supersize my extra value meals. So it's really not that big of a deal. But
nothing but the time, baby.
But no, in a nutshell, I mean, of course, I'm an Auburn fan. I had to throw that in there. But like, if we're just going across the board, let's just take the America's team theme, right? Let's take like the whole of the Cowboys, the Lakers,
NFC least. Here we go.
The Yankees. Got to own the Yankees too.
The Yankees, of course, Yankees are in there too, But I mean, just that whole thing is like, I understand if you're a product of the times. My brother and I are about 10 years apart, and he grew up. His father, my stepdad, was a huge Cowboys fan, so naturally he was a Cowboys fan. I grew up. This is long before the Titans were Nashville. I grew up a Packers fan. It's just like. And to me, those are two completely stark fan bases. You got like Packer people are just pretty down to earth, normal. They like to drink beer, eat cheese. They're just like, hey, I went to Lambeau, saw the Titans game a couple years ago. They're the nicest fan base I've ever met.
They're Midwest nice.
Yeah, and then Cowboys fans are just like, oh, we the boys.
God.
I mean, everything is just it's our year, it's our year, it's our year, it's our year, and they're blowing off the dust on the VHS tape, like watching their last Super Bowl, and they're like, it is our year. I feel it. So it's like I think that there is something to be said about the whole America's team theme. Like, if you don't have an official tie, like I grew up in the 90s watching the Bulls. I love watching Michael Jordan, but I'm not a Bulls fan. Like, I'm a Memphis Grizzlies fan, true and true. But I would come home from watching, my high school basketball game to watching WGN. I'd record it on VHS and watch the Bulls game. Like, I was obsessed with the Bulls. I don't give a shit about the Bulls anymore. So it's like, unless you have some kind of direct tie with a, Kansas City Chiefs or a Los Angeles Lakers or whatever, like, that's where I question your true fanhood. Like, I was in a store one day where a guy was wearing a Boston Bruins jacket, watching with a Lakers hat or watching a Lakers game, one or the other. And I asked him about, did you see the Lakers game earlier? And he was like, yeah, I was actually rooting against them. I hate LeBron, and I'm just like, I mean, it doesn't matter about the player. I get that. But like, if you wearing your team's clothes and I ask you if you watch the game and you tell me you're rooting against them, I'm very confused.
Right.
And that's where that whole America's team theme comes into my play. And so that's where I just say, like, the worst fan bases in the world are like the unauthentic America's team, have no ties, and they're just, we're the best. You're the worst, no matter what it is.
So here's Adrianna. Here's what I want to know. The Giants, we can admit we're trying to be in a good mood, but we can admit they've not been the best over the last couple of years. So here's my question. If this is their year to take a big leap, are you frustrated with Fairweather fans who were not interested, and they'll be like fangirling and putting on a hat, or are you just like, nope, I'd take them all? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I have literally already seen comments and DMs from people being like, I'm not going to watch this season unless Drew Lock's the starter. Like, shut up. Yes, you are. What else are you going to do on a Sunday afternoon? So I think people are allowed to talk, and they're like very stuck in there. This is my opinion and this is how it's going to go. But ultimately they're all going to watch games. But those are the people that I am going to harass come football season and be like, oh yeah, are you going apple picking instead of watching the game? Okay. Send me some pictures.
Yeah. What else are you doing Sundays at 1 p.m.?
Very popular hobby in New York, I heard. Lots of apple orchards.
My wife would find that to be delightful, though. She'd love to do that on Sunday afternoon.
Well, yeah.
Listen, I love apple picking, but you go on Saturday. You don't go.
Yeah. So, okay, yes, the Big Apple, that's the known thing, okay. Besides apples, let's talk, I'm curious. I've been to New York, to that section of the world, once in my life. I did the Boston, New York, went to a Yankees game, saw Don Mattingly. It was super cool. Statue of Liberty. We went to a play. I think it was Oliver Twist. Like, okay, but give us, if we're going to visit the area, give us some do's and don'ts on the food, and like any pointers that you can give us non East Coast folks.
You have to have a breakfast sandwich. And if you're in the Upper East Side, I love H&H. But there's a new place called Pop-Up Bagels, and they actually just opened by me in Connecticut too, but there's a couple of them around the city. So good. That place is the best. So you have to get a Taylor ham, egg and cheese. Do not order pork roll. It's the same thing, but only the trash people from South Jersey call it pork roll. It's called Taylor ham, and it's delightful. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
I'm Googling all this. I have no idea what you're saying.
I should have brought a pen and paper to write this down.
What she said was trash people from New Jersey is what I heard. I heard trash people from New Jersey. Southern Jersey.
Remember, she is from Jersey.
I am from North Jersey, which is, they are not the same.
Is that like Korea? You got
North and South Korea. Yeah.
Are you all going to secede from the South?
It's like 8 mile, 7 mile.
Yeah. Well, it's like NorCal, SoCal. I get it. Hey, I get it. Okay, so the thought that comes to me is also then, like pizza, cheesecake. Am I weird that I think that? Is that not really that big a deal for you
Pizza.
people? I put my quotes up, you people.
No,
pizza
pizza
is.
definitely is. I haven't had pizza in the city in a while, but usually if you go to the like little place on the corner that has $1 slice, that is the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with that. Frank and Pepe's, that's like a Connecticut one. I don't think they're in New York. Carmine's is a very good, a little more upscale restaurant, but like everything is family style and everything is
forget about it.
good.
Gotta go to Carmine's.
Forget about it.
It's close to Broadway too. So like if you wanted to go see a Broadway show, do Carmine's first and then go to Broadway. And then the only other thing I would say is like go to a rooftop bar and get a drink because just overlook the city. So pretty.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So what was the last show you saw on Broadway?
That's a good question. It's been a while. I think it was Jersey Boys. But I'm actually going to see Chicago.
Shocker. I'm sure you loved it.
I did.
Whoa, tell me more. A woman from Jersey? Go on. This is compelling. We love giving you crap.
She wants to see Chicago treason.
So, okay, give us a quick reminder on where people can find you.
So I am on Instagram at New York Giants Fangirl. Same thing on TikTok. And my podcast is called Everything New York Giants. And I just had on Alex Rollins. We talked about some of the film breakdowns that he's done, which was great. And I'm going to have on Stephen Baker, known as the touchdown maker. He was a player for the Giants a few years back. So he's going to come on and we're going to talk all about the Giants.
Chop it up. Yeah.
Talk
awesome.
about making touchdowns.
Right.
That's what she said, T.I. Good job.
That's what she
Write
said.
that one down too, Adam. I'm on a roll tonight.
I'm Googling all this. I think of when you're talking about the places to go in New York, one of my favorite scenes from The Office when Michael Scott takes his infrequent trips to New York and the camera's on him and he's like, when in New York, you got to get a New York slice. And he goes to Sbarro's. He's like, this is my favorite spot in New York. I'm like, every shopping mall ever has Sbarro's.
And that reminds me, the last time I was in the Big Apple, I went to the Big Apple Chinese buffet. $11.99. It was quite good.
Solid.
That's a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You pay double in New York, I would think.
No, that wasn't in New York. It was in Indiana. But I was in the Big Apple Chinese buffet.
Oh. You see what he did there, Adrianna? He got both of us.
You got me.
He's an idiot.
Last time.
Have you guys all seen The Sopranos?
Of course.
Never heard of it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Of course.
Shocked by some people who haven't seen it, which is absolutely horrifying news to me, but just want to
Same.
That's a show about a family of singers, right?
Yeah. They sing. Yeah.
I was going to say that my last time in New York, I haven't been in a while. I love New York. I've been many times, but my last time there, I was at the Rock the Bells Festival. I was watching Wu-Tang and Rage Against the Machine and The Roots and Cypress Hill and all this stuff back to back, Black Thought and Mos Def, and it was an absolute
What
blast.
year was that?
This was many years ago. This was when I was still living in an apartment, and I think it's like 2008, maybe it feels like. But
wow,
it was great until the venue ran out of water, and it was really hot, and all they had. I don't know if you remember, but Mellow Yellow came out with this energy drink called Surge, and they were like the sponsor that year. That's all they had, and so they were just giving everybody these free energy drinks. Everybody was dehydrated, and they were just passing out these energy drinks.
That's terrible.
It was a nightmare. I thought my buddy Adam and I, ironically Adam, his name as well. I thought we both were going to die, but you know.
Yeah. Adam, what was your last New York experience? Actually, in New York.
Yeah,
definitely.
Not the Big Apple buffet in Indiana.
It was good.
Yeah.
Come on, under $12.
Smack.
Come on now.
Mine was the time that the only time where I saw Don Mattingly. That should date how long ago that was, Mr.
Former
Yankee.
Nashville Sound. Former Nashville Sound, Don Mattingly.
There you go, Don Mattingly.
Look at that.
We
didn't even plan that. Didn't even plan that.
No, man. We're not that good. Trust us. And I'm always partial to first baseman because I'm left-handed and I couldn't play outfield, so I was stuck. Definitely first base is literally the only thing I could play. So, but I had some good ones to look up to. Will Clark, for my Giants was good, and I liked Don Mattingly. And so we did the Statue of Liberty. It was 193 degrees. We did Boston in the same day, whale watching. I lost my 49er hat. I'm still mad at my father for that because he said, "Let me just see it real quick," and then what? It's in the ocean. That was my favorite hat.
He can see it on your head. He can see it on your head.
I'm like, yeah,
use
look
these.
Look with your eyes, not with your hands, Pop.
You sure he didn't just take it and throw it? Like, let me see it. Boom.
He's a Niner fan.
He was a Cowboy fan.
No, we're all gearing up here very, very soon for game 1 against Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh is Monday Night Football.
As a Giants fan, I am literally begging the Niners to destroy the Jets and shut them out, please.
Much obliged. We will. We will take you up on your offer.
Relay that to the team.
Yes,
we're rooting for them too.
Yeah. So let's talk that for a second. Are you the average, or are you biased one way or the other in your hatred for the other New York team? Because I will admit that I hate the Raiders. Yeah, they moved to a different state, but they used to be a stone's throw away from where my team played. And so the rivalry was a little bit more real. It's still just as real as ever. We hate, I hate them the way that Giants fans hate Dodgers, the way I hate the Lakers. Is it set up exactly the same? Am I understanding that right?
It's funny. Before I had this page, I was indifferent to Mets fans and Jets fans. And I don't really watch basketball. I don't care about that. And I'll root for the Rangers and the Islanders because I'm not a huge Hockey's fan. So to me, I'm like, I hope they both
You just
win.
said Hockey's, so we can tell.
There we go.
She
just hopes they both have fun.
Understood.
As long as they're having fun, that's all that she cares about.
But now, last year, the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, I actually, in the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be good for Aaron Rodgers. And then he came out with all of his conspiracy theories and does the stuff that he does. And now I'm like, I hate that guy. I hope he gets injured again and retires. I'm so sick of him. I want him out of my city.
Hold on. Let's reshoot this. We're going to reshoot this.
And he's not a New Yorker. Get out.
She woke up and chose violence.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
We're going to reshoot it, and we're going to get her true thoughts, guys. Stand by. We're going to redo it. Good Lord. So you're not very ladylike.
So now I hate the Jets. Also, Jets fans would come on my page and talk shit to me, and I'm like, you guys literally suck. We went to overtime and you beat us by a field goal. Does that make you feel good? You also didn't make the playoffs and you won one more game than us.
They're like Ohio State fans.
Right.
Bragging rights.
The Super Bowl.
I was at a Titans game one time with one of my buddies, and it was Jets game, and there were some Jets fans behind us, and they were very hard to stomach the whole time. But at one point, I'll never forget this. One point, my buddy turned around to him and said, "You know what? I said terrorists wouldn't even touch New Jersey or something like that, And they both started laughing so hard, and they thought it was the funniest shit. And after that, it was like they were pretty cool for the rest of the time. But about the first half, it was just like, so annoying,
that reminds me of that stand-up bit. I forget who did it. It was just in the last year talking about Robert Saleh. Isn't it interesting that it's a Muslim man that's changing the trajectory of the Jets in New York?
Is he though?
Well, yeah, and is he? Oh, that's a good comeback. Well, I don't know.
That's fine, but compared to where they were, yes, the Jets are extremely better. They still went 8-9 last year with their backup quarterback. Yes, the Jets are a hell of a lot better. 7-10, whatever.
They beat
7
the Eagles.
wins.
We beat the Eagles too. Once.
Uh-oh, guys, we got her going. Hey, how long is this show? We got her going.
3 hours later.
This is why we wanted you on. Like, we just had to go through the pleasantries of 34 minutes, and then we could get the real. Hey, this is fine. It's all on the table now. Like, okay, so what do you say?
Come after me.
I do want to come after her real quick on one thing.
Okay.
Are you so confident to think the Giants will have more wins this year than the Jets?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get injured again. I don't think their offensive line is any better, and I think Robert Saleh is a terrible coach.
I'm so glad I asked that question. Oh, I love it.
Fighting words.
Jets fans harassing me, but honestly, they deserve the shit talking.
T.I., get that on TikTok right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be...
and that's huge. That's a big deal, I think.
Okay, you know what? The Giants defense led the NFL in takeaways, tied with the Ravens last year. So,
Ratbirds.
I'm just saying, doesn't mean you're a Super Bowl team.
That's fair. I definitely didn't know that about the Giants defense.
We refer to the Ravens as Ratbirds.
That's fair.
I do.
I thought you were gonna, especially with another reason to hate Philly, because I was going to bring up, they definitely call them the Ratbirds because their beloved Derrick Henry went there.
Saquon.
Why don't you say your true feelings of loving endearment for Saquon Barkley?
I don't have any of that left in me.
Well, try.
It was a joke. We know. Is that so? Okay, let me ask you this: when you see the news come out, it's been about a month and a half at least, that the news came out that, Saquon said, well, they never offered me, whatever. And then we see video footage of the phone call. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So where do you fall? Like, is Saquon the idiot, or is the friend, like, who do you blame? I know you're the Giants fan, but be honest.
Yeah, no, first of all, I'll be honest and say, I think the Giants did the right thing. I'm very glad that they did not pay Saquon the money that he wanted. We are not in a position to pay a running back $13 million a year. It's insane. He is more injured than he is healthy. I don't think it's a good investment. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I said that from day one. But I do believe it is more so Saquon and his agent that he had in 2022. It's more so their fault that he is not a Giant, because the Giants offered him virtually almost the same deal in the middle of the 2022 season that he got with the Eagles, and him and his agent turned it down because he thought he was going to get more money. And then he got less money when he got tagged in 2023. And now he got the money. But the only reason he got that money is because the Eagles roster is in better shape than the Giants. And they said, we don't care if we overpay for a running back, which is fine. I mean, good for them.
That's what
they're
they do.
In win now mode.
To admit. They just
plug and play every year. They're just like, we're just going to overpay. We're going to convince someone to sign with us over another team, overpay them. And the result, we're good with the results.
Yeah,
they think their offense will carry them enough to where they can get enough value from whatever they pay.
Well, what I hate to admit, what I really, really hate to admit, as we all don't enjoy Philadelphia, they draft the last couple years really well. I have to admit,
the Georgia Bulldogs.
I know.
Well, what do you get?
But anyone who went to UGA.
One thing though, we cannot let this episode pass where we're talking about Philly and talking about fan bases without talking about Nick Sirianni. I mean, is he got to be the most punchable face in the NFL when it comes to coaches?
No question.
I mean, every time I look at him, I'm just like, bro, like I think of that scene in Fight Club where it's like, if you could fight anybody, like if somebody was like, if you could punch any coach in the face right now for any reason or no reason. I'd be like, they wouldn't even finish. I'd hit the buzzer and say Nick Sirianni before they even finish the sentence. That's how that's how I feel about
it too.
He's always crying. He's always.
I don't even think he would fight back.
He'll be a team with like 3 wins and pump his fist in the crowd.
Yeah, when things are going well, he's that Ohio State fan. He's in your face when they're up 23-0 at halftime. But the next week they're down 17-3, and he's like almost hiding between assistant coaches and just has a puppy dog look on his face. Like, no, dude, I need that same energy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just do that, dude. It doesn't work that way in the NFL.
I guarantee you that guy was growing up was the guy who took his ball and went home. You know,
right.
it was.
And when he hit a home run,
he's like, "You guys don't want me to play? It's my football. I'm going home."
Right. And when he hit a home run in Little League, he made sure the whole world knew.
He never hit a home run.
True.
Inside the park, it was errors.
No, I mean, of course we're picking on Philly, but I mean, you know, I'm just on the outside looking in, and I agree. You know, she has a dog in the fight. She agrees. Adam, you're from the West Coast. You agree. Miles is here. I think Miles fully agrees. Like, well, no, I think Boston as well. Like,
Miles is thinking about Chinese food right now.
Yeah, Patriots fans as well. You got to say they have been pretty damn spoiled.
You don't say. Well, T.I. had a line the other week that he would cheer for Satan over the Houston Texans because Satan's not in his division. So would you say the same? Would you pick Satan over the Eagles? Because, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, look at she's like,
Satan and I would have a great time slugging some beers, talking shit about the Eagles. The Cowboys.
Here's what's funny. This is a reason to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're watching us on YouTube, because when Miles mentioned that, the light bulb that went off in Adrianna's head to agree so quickly with T.I.'s sentiment was uncanny. Like, you're supposed to like double think that. Well, Satan, that's pretty bad. But you were just like, nope. Your forehead, like the crinkle in your forehead was like, oh yeah, that's stellar idea.
Because even Satan. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like, don't you guys listen to Billy Joel? I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints.
With the saints.
I'm saying, Satan would be a hell of a lot of fun.
Only the good die young, baby.
And even Satan tells Philly to turn down the evil just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, and we've all seen the South Park movie. I mean, Satan seems like a fun guy. You know,
It's very, very soft.
Yeah.
If there are any women that I've ever hung out with that strike me as a South Park girl, I think it would just be, it would just be Adrianna. Like, you're the epitome of like, oh, she knows South Park. Like,
I love
8 minutes of hanging out. Yeah. After 8 minutes of hanging out, of course she does. Yeah.
South Park is the best.
Before we let you go, what is one thing that you enjoy doing when you're not trying to tackle Jets fans via DM?
I really like to travel. I don't know if that's kind of a boring answer, but
depends on where you go. If it's Indiana, that's boring.
Big Apple Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little better. And I actually might be going to Munich for the Giants game. So I've got some fun weekend plans. So
when is that game? Is that near Oktoberfest?
It's early November, so maybe.
You'll catch the remnants of that.
Yeah.
The aftermath.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on if you go to that and talk about your experience for sure.
Oh man, please come back on.
Yeah.
Nah, no one would want to hear about that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, not interesting at all. Just go to a different country
for Oktoberfest in the game.
We'll definitely have you back. Be sure to follow Adrianna on Instagram. Remember, that is where she is the biggest deal. She's obviously a big deal, like in the real world and just all over. But New York Giants fangirl on Instagram. Be sure to follow her there, especially if you are a Giants fan. Follow her even if you're not, because she's obviously cool as hell. So thank you, Adrianna, for being on the show. Will you come back and hang out with us then?
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
We pinned her down. She said yes, so we have that on
hopefully
that's her binding.
Reels.
Hopefully it's also after the Niners stomp out the Jets.
Yes.
Right. Because we can have a powwow and virtual high five on that.
Share notes.
So again, be sure to like and subscribe. We are on any social media that you can think of in your brain, and the most fun way to watch is on YouTube. So hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new content drops. As always, we will see you Monday. Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.